Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to start with another new topic that is business organizations in politics, especially business organizations in Indian politics. And as I have earlier discussed, that the role of pressure groups, the role of interest groups in Indian politics is very, very important because it's a kind of indirect mode of participation in politics by these interest groups, and it also helps us to understand that how these groups basically help, basically influence the governmental policy making. So that is the reason we are going to discuss the last pressure group, that is business organizations in Indian politics. Okay, so today, apart from this lecture, I have prepared this PowerPoint presentation so that you can understand different dimensions of this lecture titled Business Organizations in Indian Politics. So let's start with this. So first, let us pay attention to the objectives of this lecture. Okay, so this lecture is basically trying to explain the relationship between business groups and the government in the Indian context, and also it will analyze the relationship between business groups, the state, and the globalization process. So basically this lecture is going to discuss a trio or a relationship that involves business groups, Indian state, and the functioning of market economy. Okay, and outcome of this lecture, so the students shall be able to understand demands of these business groups, their activities as interest groups, and also the major business organizations or groups in India, their functions, their vision, their mission, and their role in Indian politics, and more specifically, their significance since the 1990s, when Indian economy started witnessing the emergence of liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So this is the objective we have discussed, the outcome of the lecture we have discussed. So please keep this in your mind while we are proceeding through this. Now we have reached this third slide, business groups in politics. There are actually three important business groups in Indian politics: FICCI, CII, and ASSOCHAM. You will get their full name in next slides. Okay. And these business groups have played very important role in shaping Indian industry. But I should mention few important things for you. First, three important points you need to keep in mind. One, that is the first point which I have mentioned in the last point, that is business groups should not be considered as homogenized groups. So you should, like I have mentioned, that peasant groups, you cannot homogenize them, because within the peasant groups we have seen the struggle of the peasant groups and we have seen the struggle of the rich farmers. So in the same way, business groups cannot be homogenized, because within the business groups you have rich business groups, other big business houses, but you also have small business groups, petty business groups also. So that you need to keep in mind, that all groups are not, you cannot homogenize all the groups. Second is very important, that even within the business groups, the role of religious affiliation, caste, and other things, other affiliations, that play very important role. Another important thing you need to keep in mind, that the relationship between government and the pressure group, it always revolves around the politics of give and take. So the demand, the conflict resolution, and distribution of resources by the government, and basically after doing this, the government is receiving support from these groups. So these big business groups, they always ask for land, electricity, different types of infrastructural support from the government, and that is very, very important. And another important point that we should keep in mind, that why are we studying this pressure groups, especially the business groups in Indian politics? Because here the role of the state is very important. The role of the state is very important as an arbitrator, so that if there is any conflict between the management and the labor, because in trade unionism also I had mentioned the same point, that if there is any conflict between the business organizations or the management and the trade unions, and if this disputes take serious form, then the role of the intervention of the state, that becomes very, very important. So that is the reason in political science, it's not only about the pressure group, it is all about how these pressure groups are influencing the state, the government, for their resources, for their policies. So that you need to keep in mind. Okay. So now I am coming to the first organization, that is the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Okay, so it is known as FICCI. One thing you need to keep in mind, that you have to prepare FICCI, CII, ASSOCHAM as separate organizations, because these are very important. I have given this website, so you can go to the website and see their history, vision, mission, their publications separately if you are interested. Otherwise, in this slide also I have tried to give the main points which will help you to understand the organization and their mission as well as their vision, that how they played an important role in Indian economy, in shaping Indian economy. So as I have mentioned here, and please one thing, for these three groups, basically, I have taken their vision and mission for their website. So I will suggest you to at least go through their website so you can get to know these organizations in detail. Okay. So now you see this. First, it's non-profit organization. This organization, FICCI, this point is very important. It's a platform which is known for networking, which is known for consensus building within different sectors. So that can be private, that can be public also. Okay, and what you need to keep in mind, that FICCI as a business groups, it has defined itself as a voice within industry. So it always reflects the interests of the business class. That you need to keep in mind, that from influencing policy to encouraging debate, engaging with policymakers and civil society, FICCI articulates the views and concerns of industry. So this is the main function of this organization. So that you need to keep in mind. So as I have mentioned earlier, that this is not direct participation in politics, rather it is more important in terms of influencing the governmental decisions through their mechanisms, through their resources. Next you come, that is the Confederation of Indian Industry since 1895. Website link is given. So please go to their website if you are more interested, and I'll always suggest you to go through their websites, because you can see their publications, and that at least it's not that it's mandatory for your exam and for your knowledge building, but definitely it is mandatory or very important for your exposure. So here look at CII, what CII has done. So like FICCI also, CII plays very important role in networking. It plays an important role in changing, in influencing governmental issues on industry. And at the same time, just look at this with the theme for 2020-21, building India for a new world, lives, livelihood and growth. This is very, very important that I'm going to discuss with you, that all these business groups have shaped Indian economy and shaped the role, to some extent, the role of the role of the state in the era of globalization. Because globalization has induced new set of challenges for Indian economy. So from that perspective, these organizations, they have continuously changed themselves, and their role before 1990s and after 1990s, these two time frames are very, very different, that we need to keep in mind. Here also you just go through this, it will continue to proactively transform Indian industry's engagement in national development. So these groups have played very important role in shaping nation building, in shaping the blueprint for India's national development, India's economy, that what form Indian economy should take and how these groups can involve in this. So that is very, very important for us. You can also see two things important here. Apart from business, these two groups have also talked about engaging with civil society organizations. Now, why? That I will discuss after seeing the third group. So please pay attention to this: building India for a new world, lives, livelihood, and growth. Now, we are going to the third slide. So third is ASSOCHAM, Associated Chambers of Commerce and Industry of India, celebrating 100 years. Here again, the link is given. If you're interested, I will suggest, please go through the link and get to know these organizations in detail. So what is this? Another important, very important old business group in Indian politics, and look at their vision, the knowledge architect of corporate India. So these organizations, look at the year is 1920, and this is the vision, the knowledge architect of corporate India. So this vision has been developed especially after 1980s. So that is the reason I'm continuously telling you that before globalization and after globalization, this group's engagement with the government for changing policies on globalization, privatization, or business, it has become very, very significant. That is the reason we are studying this in political science. So ASSOCHAM has always given importance to value creation of Indian industry. You can see that how, again, this organization has also given a lot of importance to networking. Another important thing which I have found very interesting is their emphasis on knowledge, on building knowledge society. So what is the vision of this? The vision of this organization is related to nation building and creating global leadership. And what is the mission of this organization? Being the effective voice of corporate India, so that all the interests of the business houses get reflected through their activities. So that is very, very important. And please don't forget this, the knowledge architect of corporate India. So let's go to the next slide. And I have given one more extra slide for ASSOCHAM because I have found it very interesting from their website, that creating knowledge for competitive advantage. I'll explain, and please go to this also, that please try to understand that what I'm actually trying to tell you at this moment. If you see the three organizations, FICCI, CII, and ASSOCHAM, and if you just make a little bit comparison of these three organizations' vision and mission, you can understand that they have given importance to the role of Indian economy since globalization. One thing is quite visible, that is the emergence of competitive economy and how these business groups have performed in this competitive economy. In this competitive economy, apart from labor, knowledge has become very important. So these business groups have given importance to knowledge-based society. It has given importance to the increased role of technology. That is very, very important. That is the meaning of the architect of corporate India, that you should accept the forces of globalization based on skill, knowledge, and technology. The same thing today we are doing now, that we are doing our teaching and learning through a very different platform. So this was not, very much available for us earlier, but now after COVID, it has become a part of our life. So that you need to keep in mind. So, and another important thing, these three groups have given importance to global leadership. If you go through these slides in detail, you'll find that all these business groups have given importance to their networking, not only within the national domain, but also international domain. So trade delegations in Brazil, UK, West Africa, all this building up international engagement. This is very, very important. Third point that is very important, apart from global leadership, is building the concept of corporate social responsibilities, corporate social responsibility that we have found to some extent in CII's, if I'm not forgetting, CII's vision that building India in the new world that I had emphasized. So this big corporates group, the big business groups, they partnering today with civil society organizations, because these groups today are giving importance to CSR, corporate social responsibility. So it's a very new form of nation building when these groups are participating in the development of nation, in the development of society. That is the reason they are developing, they are funding, they are making relationships with civil society organizations. So after discussing these three groups and their mission and vision and their function, three things very important. Function is mainly networking, influencing government for their policies, for their resources, for their infrastructure. Okay. Another important thing I have mentioned, that knowledge, technology, these two things have become very important, especially after 1990s. And these business groups have propagated this in the changing nature, in the changing scenario of Indian economy. Third thing is very important for all those business groups, that how they're influencing society and politics is important in terms of corporate social responsibility. That one group is defining itself as the voice within industry. Another group is defining India in the new world. Another group is defining itself as the architect of corporate India. So this shows that their approach, their agenda, these are changing slowly with the emerging forces of globalization, privatization, and liberalization. Sorry. So now I'm coming to the techniques, because this is very, very important. In beginning of my lecture, I had told you that these groups influence the government, their decision making. Now, while we were discussing trade union, we discussed political unionism. While we had discussed peasant organizations, we have discussed the role of All India Kisan Sabha, we have discussed the role of Rich Farmer Movement, BKU, Bharatiya Kisan Union, and how they are trying to, so if Kisan Sabha's strategy is different, then BKU strategy is totally different in terms of their class and interest. So now, obviously, the interest of this business group, this is also very much different from other interest groups. So these are the three important mechanisms I feel it is important for us to understand. One is lobbying. Lobbying is very important. What is lobbying? By lobbying, we understand indirect, informal relationship building, rapport building. So that is very, very important in corporate world, that everything is not visible, everything is not direct, rather to some extent indirect. So lobbying, establishing rapport, informal relationship with the powerful people, powerful leaders, officials. This is very, very important for the business groups. Second, briefcase politics. Briefcase politics, it's a new word. By briefcase politics, generally we understand the role of money in briefcase. And funding. Funding, I think I don't need to explain this. Funding is very, very important. In many cases, business organizations, they fund political ventures, political parties. And in the beginning, I have told you, it's a relationship of give and take and vote bank politics. So these techniques play an important role in influencing the relationship between business groups and the government. So that you need to keep in mind. So I was telling you that these groups influence the government, but now I'm telling you the techniques through which these groups influence the government, especially the influential big business houses. Because I have also mentioned you that kindly don't homogenize business groups, because if there are big houses like FICCI, ASSOCHAM and CII, there are also small business groups, small business associations which are not that powerful, and had to struggle continuously to face challenges of globalization, to face challenges of market. So that also we need to keep in mind. Okay, now I'm coming to the third point and the second objective of our lecture, that is business group and globalization. So globalization has changed the functionings of these business groups. Even it has changed the functioning of business and nature of economy in India. So in the beginning, I mentioned when I have gone through these three groups, I continuously told you that after 1990s, the agenda of this business groups, it has changed, okay, to a large extent. So these are the points I have mentioned, that emergence of e-commerce and business has changed in the changed the scenario of Indian economy. And what you need to keep in mind, that globalization, opening up Indian economy market to the outside world, it induced competition, choice, and profit. So the way big business houses had dealt with the challenge of globalization, this was not the same for the petty or small business associations. That you need to keep in mind. Therefore, globalization is a multidimensional process. Its impact cannot be the same for everyone. That needs to be understood. And that is the reason I have said here that the role of the knowledge-based economy, that has become very important, because that was FICCI, ASSOCHAM, and CII, they are propagating. That in this changing economy, you have to accept technology, you have to accept modernization, you have to accept the changing nature of labor, that is in terms of service industry. For example, look at this e-commerce, the concept of e-commerce. We all are part of now this concept of e-commerce. Whenever we talk about e-commerce, it's all about what? It's all about Amazon, it's all about Zomato, all the apps you use, Flipkart, different types of multiple apps. So these apps and e-commerce, these have changed the nature of Indian business. So when today you are shopping online, you are trading online, then when you are benefiting, you are taking the advantage of technology. At the same time, there are many associations, there are many small organizations, they find it really difficult to cope with this changing and competitive market economy. So that needs to be considered. Okay, so here I have mentioned that the role of globalization has been multidimensional. The role of the state has been very, very crucial. Why? Because in the beginning of my lecture, I told you the role of the state is very, very important, because if there is any dispute, the state takes the decision, it mediates, right? Here, after 1990s, the role of the state becomes very important, not only in terms of mediation or resolving disputes. The state had to take the decision to what extent they can open up economy to the outsider, to what extent economy can be opened up to the outside world economy. Because the moment you are inviting foreign investors, the moment you are inviting foreign business groups in your country, you are actually creating challenge and competition for the domestic business groups. So in many cases, these big business houses, these big business groups have also opposed the government's policy. I mean, very, very important government policy of LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Because it is not always correct to think that LPG is beneficial for the big business houses and it's negative for the small, because you cannot just understand the entire thing in binary or in watertight compartments. That you need to keep in mind. Okay, so that is very, very important, that you need to keep in mind. So now I have reached the conclusion that the relationship between the government and business groups has been very important and politically significant, and it highlights the role of the interest groups in Indian politics, right? So what was the objective of this lecture? The objective of this lecture was to explain the relationship between business group as a pressure group and the government, and second was to explain the trio again: business, the state or the government, and the globalization. Outcome, I declared or I said that you are going to understand the main demands of the business groups. You are going to discuss, you are going to know three important groups, their mission and vision, and you are going to discuss their significance, that how they are playing an important role in Indian economy. So they are playing an important, they had played an important role in shaping Indian economy. After 1990s, their role has been very significant in terms of accepting technology, in terms of propagating technology, and propagating the need for market economy. But this is not beyond challenges. This is not beyond criticisms that you need to keep in mind. So we have discussed business groups in Indian politics with reference to state and globalization process. How the globalization process has impacted business groups in India. This is the last part of my lecture, and the last point I would like to mention that during this COVID times, we have continuously seen that how CII, FICCI have continuously tried to mention the measures that the Indian government should take to reshape Indian economy. That is the reason I'm telling you to go through their websites. You can see all the publications related to COVID and Indian economy. How these business organizations continuously are putting up suggestions for reinventing Indian economy in this post-COVID world. So it is not only now globalized world, it is actually for me globalized and post-COVID world, while it's the struggle between life versus livelihood. And while we are talking about the struggle between life versus livelihood, you need to keep in mind the role of the business groups is very, very important. Because if you have seen the news channels, you have seen go through the you have gone through the literature, you can see that how these business groups have continuously suggested new types of measures, phasing out lockdown, and suggested reframing Indian economy in this post-COVID world. So that is the reason I'm suggesting you to go through their websites, so that you can understand, you can see their publication, and you can understand their role. And the moment you go through the website, you can also get to know about the recent presidents, about the previous presidents of these organizations, how they have, maintained relationship with the maintaining relationship with the current government, and how they have maintained relationship with the previous government. So all this detailed, if you're interested, you can find in their websites. So that is the reason the website is, information about the website is given. If you want, please go through this. So here I'm stopping my lecture. Hope it will help you to understand the role of business groups in Indian politics. Till then, stay safe, keep studying, and take care. Bye.